Alright guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about how any man can go from a 1 to a 10. It's a concept that was on MSI College. It's one of the last two I believe now. It's one that I remembered. I thought there was two left before there was three. So I'm going to clear these up today. So any man can go from a 1 to a 10. It's a beautiful thing about being a man. So if you look at women, you're either hot or you're not. You know, a lot of women will rely on their genetics. So they'll maybe get to 18, they'll be super hot, they have a great life for around about 10 years, then it starts to dip. You know, we know this. I don't want to slander women. I feel like I've made a few videos like that. I don't want to do that. And there's a few girls that maybe they get to something like 22, maybe they're like a 6 out of 10. They work their butt off, you know, and they get to like a 7 or 8 out of 10 because they've got a great body. Maybe higher in rare incidences, but it doesn't last that long. You know, again, they're gonna, as long as they keep themselves in shape, it won't be too bad. But it's probably gonna be 30 years old, and they're gonna see slow decline again. As a man, as you guys know, I always discuss that we got the long term, we got the male advantage. It's 36 before we peak. Our 40s, you know, in this era is starting to look fantastic. There's so many guys that are in their 40s. In Hollywood, you know, I can't mention a few things, YouTube will block it. There's a few conspiracy theories around why people in Hollywood still look great when they're older, but I feel like a lot of guys that are in their 40s now are still looking pretty good. I know a few that, you know, look still pretty sharp, as long as they stay in shape. And, you know, as I was saying, any guy can go from a 1 to a 10, but it's a specific thing to men. So you could be born, let's say this scenario, you could be born with the worst hand ever. You know, you got dealt the worst genetic cards you've ever seen. You get to around about 18, you're the geeky kids, you've not really got any assets, you've got no real like job prospects, your grades were kind of shit, girls don't really want you, you got a skinny fat body, you're not that confident, maybe body language and tonality are off, you know, all of these traits pushed to the wayside, okay? Here's the thing. As a man, it doesn't matter. Because you've got from, like, let's say 18 to 40 to sort your shit out. And it's not just going to go from bad to good in that time spell. It's going to go from bad to better, to okay, to good, to great, to the perfect life. And each step is going to feel like a better life. And that's the beauty of being a man. And that is how any man can go from a 1 to a 10. Is that, you know, things like genetics or maybe epigenetics, you know, they're looking into this a lot now and seeing what is actually responsible for the way we look, etc. But there's certain things that you're born with. Maybe you have a predisposed height that you're going to be, or within a range, your penis size is going to be within a range. Do you know what I mean? It's your body's going to be within a certain range of muscularity and body fat. And you can sway it with epigenetics, left or right, depending on how you live, but you're going to have some sort of a range. But you can make the best of that situation. But that's kind of like the things that you can't change in life. You know, you're kind of born with these. You're predisposed to be going bald at around about 40 years old. Good lifestyle, you might delay it to 52. You know, poor lifestyle, you might go bald at 32. It's things like that, right? But everything else is environmental, and everything else can be changed for you as a man. You know, every other component is up to you to grow and build on. So you could, like I said, let's take this scenario. Let's take you down the path, okay? Because I like doing visual stuff. You're 18. You're the guy that I spoke about earlier, the geeky one. None of the women want. Skinny, fat body. Not confident. Poor body language. Didn't get good grades. Not necessarily that intelligent. Doesn't come from a wealthy family. Has no money. Just looking at life and thinking, how the fuck did I get dealt this hand and where am I going next? Decides, okay, self-improvement, this is going to be the way to go. I'm going to work my way to the top through hustle and grind. Starts going to the gym, maybe once a day, but does it 6 days a week. Starts eating clean. Okay, that builds up. During that time, says, okay, I'm going to start chewing this. The Mastitha gum, I don't know if you can see it. I've got a small pack there, I always keep it with me. You know, going to start chewing that gum, grow my face, my jaw, etc. Make sure this is stronger so this all stays together and grows forward. Cheekbones will go up, maxilla bone will go upwards and forwards. I've made videos on this before, you guys can find them. How to become a better looking man, might link it at the end. And the interview with Dr. Mike Mew, the documentary on orthotropics, that was very good. You know, you're going to grow your face, that's going to become better, and your body's getting better. Okay, so your outer appearance is going to improve. That's step one. So you could go from a 1 to, I would say, a guy who's improving his face and body dramatically, especially the body, to like a 9 or a 10 if he's super dedicated, is going to go from like a 1 to definitely a 5. Definitely a 5 or a 6. He's going to be around that range. If he's really ugly guy, terrible shape to begin with, one of them he can completely correct. The other one he can improve by around about 40 to 60%, which is the facial growth, etc. Maybe he has never really cut his hair before, hygiene's been quite bad, starts improving that, goes to a barber, starts looking very clean. Maybe his clothes are just normal clothes, whatever. He's not really making an effort. He thinks, okay, this winter it's going to be a bit colder. I'm going to focus on my fashion a little bit more. Increases his fashion. All those components that I mentioned, starting to bring him up to like 6 or a 7 at this point. Maybe a 6.5, maybe a 7 at a push on a good day. He's sleeping well, he's eating well, he's going to bed early. He used to stay up all night playing games at like 18. Now he's like 21. He's thinking, I need to sort my life out. I need to get to bed earlier. Suddenly his skin's looking better. He's taking better care of himself. Maybe get something like a water filter, a reverse osmosis machine. So now the water that's going in his body isn't aging him, isn't drying out his skin. It's looking even better, some organic creams or whatever. At this point, he thinks to himself, do you know what? I need to improve the other areas of my life. So appearance is great. I look fantastic, but I'm still shy. My body language sucks. I have no wealth, and I still feel like I'm, pretty dumb. So he then says, okay, I'm going to start reading one book a week. If I can't do that, I'm going to read it once a month. But I know that over time, I'm going to become more intelligent. My vocabulary is going to get better. I'm going to become more articulate. I'm going to have more to talk about. And the impression of intelligence is going to go up because I'm going to know more. I might become an expert generalist, and I can link all these areas together and fuse them into, kind of the mind of an outlier male, which is fantastic. So he does that. He then says, okay, I'm going to learn to cook because, a 21, 22-year-old man, he's getting older. I'm going through the years here. Should be able to cook and fend for himself. Okay, so I'm going to take some cooking lessons. I'm maybe going to just try some stuff out, get a cookbook, and just upgrade that skill. I think once a night, maybe once a morning for 20 minutes, I'm going to learn Spanish or French or German or, whatever it might be. Italian, language of, is it the language of love? I don't know. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to study a bit of a language. I'm going to improve that area of my life. Suddenly his culture is going up. Suddenly his intelligence is going up. He's reading. He's studying different languages. He's learning how to cook. This guy's skill set is rising as well as being in shape and having all these other things under control because he's been doing them for so long now, like 4 or 5 years. He knows how to do them efficiently. So all these other skills are coming in and he's becoming a holistic outlier male. He then thinks, okay, what's this body language shit I've been hearing about? What's this tonality? I'm going to speak with more fluency. I'm going to speak with more passion in my voice. People are going to respect me when I speak. My volume doesn't necessarily have to go up, but the strength in my voice, the vibrato, the tonality is going to be on point. I'm going to study presidents. I'm going to study how they do it. I'm going to study experts in speaking. I'm going to study body language. I'm going to practice it every day until it becomes a natural part of who I am and, how I move and what I do on a daily basis and how confident I am around other people. Then he thinks, I'm feeling good in myself. He's probably at like an 8 at this point. He thinks, I'm feeling good in myself. I'm going to start approaching a few women. So he starts approaching a few women. His confidence goes up. Like I said, he gets better in this area. He then becomes a little bit of a ladies' man because he's just used to talking to them. He's very comfortable. And he thinks, okay, I'm a solid 8 out of 10 now. Life's pretty easy. How am I going to take it to the next stage? Maybe he's 25. He thinks I'm going to dedicate the next 10 years of my life with everything in place. So he's already got a good life, but he needs money now. He's going to dedicate the next 10 years of his life to either working in a company or building a business. I would recommend building a business. But, either way, if you focus and you are disciplined with all the other stuff that you've got, especially with fitness, you could rise up high in a company, become like a CEO of a big firm, or even just a high paid position. Or you start your own company, it takes 10 years to build, or property portfolio, whatever it is that you're into. And he works for that at 10 years, or works for 10 years at that, with all the other areas of life. So he's already got a good life. He's already getting the women he wants. He's kind of the man. He's got everything in place. The only thing he's lacking is wealth. So he works for 10 years flat out. Finally, after around about 10 years, he's a multi-millionaire. So now he's got all these other areas of life in place. So he's 35, 36 years old. He's at his peak. He's at the male advantage right now. This is when he'll never be better than what he is right now, but you can sustain it for a long time if you keep all these traits up, okay? So he's probably got, his assets will get better over time, but he's got great assets right now. He's an intelligent guy. His culture's got a good skill set. He's in shape, been doing orthotropics for like 15 years. Face is looking significantly better. Hygiene's up there. He's confident, good body language, like I said, tonality, respectful position in life, good career or business. Everything's fallen into play. You know, he dresses well. He's at that male advantage. He's a 10 out of 10. You know, when that money's coming in, he's a multi-millionaire. He is now a 10 out of 10. And in that time frame, like I said, you could reach that point at 45, 50. It doesn't matter. You can still become a 10, okay? But just having that youth on your side as well really solidifies you being a 10, because so many other women will look around. You know, you might get a 28-year-old woman who's still in her prime, still looks great, whatever. She'll see a guy who's 36 years old and think he's still young enough and he's got all the other traits. You know, he is the perfect 10. If a guy had all that but was 46, she'd probably pick the 36-year-old because he's younger, all right? But you've got all those traits in place, and, you know, you started as a 1. So you started as a 1, you're now a 10. And it took from 18 to 36. So 18 years. 18 years of hard graft just every single day. And it might not even take that long. It might not take that long. You know, I actually stretched that out over a long period of time. And 10 years to become a millionaire in a business might take you 8. That's 2 years that are shaved off. You know, all the fitness and everything else that you were doing, you might have ticked those boxes in 4 years, 5 years. You know, you could have been 23 and you started your business then. Maybe it took 8 years. You were 30, 31 when you reached, you know, perfect 10 level. Now you've got around about 10, 15 years of being a perfect 10 as a man. That's a fucking good situation. And that's something, like I said at the start, that women can't achieve. Women can't do that. You know, because we won't see them as a perfect 10 if they've got all these other traits. It's purely just based on looks for them. Whereas us, we can improve all these different areas of life. And we have, number one, we've got time to do it, guys. We do have time to do all these things. Only if we act quickly. If we act fast. You know, we've got to do them right now. Because everybody thinks they've got time as a man. Everybody, like, let's say I'm 27 now. I'm 28 next month, like I said. I know that, you know, I'm not running out of time. I'm in a pretty good situation, but I'm not where I want to be. And I know I'm going to have to start doubling down. I am where I want to be. I've put myself in this situation pretty much this week. Everything's come together. But I'm looking in the mirror and I'm thinking I should be in way better shape by now. I've had time. You know, I've had time in the past, but every year you think to yourself, okay, I'll do it next year. I've got time. I've got this. I'll work on this first. I'll work on that. It's like, as hard as I have been working, it needs to be like 10 times harder than that. You know, your workouts need to be double as good. Every time you lift, you need to be trying to chase down a PB or something, or the intensity needs to go up by double. Or I'll learn Spanish next year, or when I'm in this position, I'll hire a personal trainer and a Spanish coach and a yoga teacher, and I'll tick these areas of life as well. It's like you got to try and do all that now. You just got to do it as young as you can and start ticking boxes, so that when that male advantage comes around, you're in a perfect position. And so many people, like I said, think they've got time. They think they've got way more time than they should. So it's a difficult one, because like I said, the male advantage is later, and I'm telling you guys to be patient. But what I don't want is somebody to go, I'm 25, you know, male advantage is 10, 11 years time. I'll do it then. It's like, no, you only get to the advantage from doing the work now. You know, the work in your teens and 20s will give you the best 30s, 40s, and 50s of your life. Well, obviously of your life, but the best 30s, 40s, and 50s that a man could dream of. And that's what people forget, is the hard work begins right this day, and there's no better time to start than today. But like I said, guys, any guy can go from a 1 to a 10. It just takes a lot of hard work, and it takes a decent amount of time. Like I said, 18 to maybe 36. It might take that long for you. But once you get there, guys, imagine starting as a 1 and ending up as a 10. Imagine the difference in life, and you know you've earned all that and you've got to the top yourself. You've added all these traits step by step. And the one thing I want you guys to go away with is optimism, to know that this is real. This can happen. This can happen for any guy. If you look at Anthony Joshua before, yeah, he was tall, but you know, he's real goofy, like teeth were hanging out. He had like a skinny jawline here, terrible skinny body, just like a lanky, awkward guy. Wasn't that confident on camera. Now he's like a perfect 10. He's like the ultimate alpha male. And He could get any woman he wants. You know, every guy wants to be him. He's got millions in the bank. You know, he's conquered all of this from hard work. And what is he now, like 32 years old? When he started his like Olympic journey, he was probably like 16 when they signed him on to kind of look towards being Olympic champion. So, you know, we're talking about a lot of years there, guys, and that's sports. That's different. That's completely different. But we're talking about around about 16 years for him to get in the position that he's in now. That's a lot of hard work. But he's 32. He's not even old. He's not even old. He's in a fantastic position now. And if he retired from boxing, he's gonna have the perfect life. You know, he could invest in businesses. He's still gonna have all that money. Everything is gonna be in place for him. And he definitely started not as a 1, but he definitely started as like a 5. Overall, and now he's a solid 10, you know, the top end of being a 10 as well. So if it was like you know, a 9.5 rounded up would be in the 10 bracket, he is like a 10, like he is in that perfect 10 bracket. So I always think that should be done out of 100, because I think there's bigger differentials. You know, you say a girl's a 10 and then there's a girl who's a 9 and somebody else says she's a 10, it's like you know, you've got to have a larger scale. So she's a 97, she's a 99, you know, it's a lot easier to do that way. But don't forget that, guys. No matter where you start, no matter what card you've been dealt to begin with, whatever hand you've been dealt to begin with, any guy can go from a 1 to a 10. It just starts now. And we've all started too late. We should have started at 14. We should have started lifting weights then and looking into reading books and businesses, etc. But we've got to go. We've got to hustle right now. You know, if you're a 3 right now, you can become a 10. If you're a 1, you can become a 10. If you're a 7 and you've got lazy, what are you doing, man? You could be a 10. You know, you could tick all these boxes. And why do you want to be a 10? It makes life easier. Everybody knows life's easier when women want you, you're in good shape, you're a good looking guy, you're happy, you've got wealth, you know, you can buy whatever you want, you can do whatever you want each day. You don't have a boss on your back telling you to go here and do that. You're on a boat like Dan Bilzerian. You know, you could have one woman with you, you could be in love, whatever, but you're in the south of France on a boat with the woman that you love and you're eating the food that you want, you're diving in and out of the sea, you're not sat at a fucking desk taking orders, you know, and you're in shape, you're not unhealthy. Just tick all these boxes as quick as you can, guys. Go from a 1 to a 10 or wherever you started and stop wasting time.